Peter, Simon Peter. Peter, originally named Simon, was one of Jesus' first followers. He was a fisherman, which means he caught fish for a living before meeting Jesus. Peter is often considered the leader of the apostles, which are like Jesus' special friends and helpers. He was known for being very enthusiastic and sometimes acted quickly without thinking. For example, he was the only one brave enough to try walking on water to meet Jesus during a storm, but he started sinking because he got scared. Despite his mistakes, Jesus trusted Peter a lot. After Jesus died, Peter became a key leader in spreading Christianity, especially among Jewish people. He also wrote 2 parts of the Bible, called 1st and 2nd Peter. Peter's life teaches us that even if we make mistakes, we can still do great things if we are brave and keep faith. John. John was another close follower of Jesus and considered one of his best friends. He was also a fisherman before he met Jesus. John is believed to have written the Gospel of John, 3 letters known as 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and the book of Revelation, which talks about the end of the world in heaven. John's Gospel is special because it talks a lot about love and the importance of loving each other as Jesus loved us. He also focused a lot on Jesus' identity as the Son of God. John was known for his deep love and loyalty to Jesus. Even when Jesus was dying on the cross, he trusted John to take care of his mother, Mary. John's life and writings teach us about the power of love and the importance of really understanding who Jesus. Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love. James the Greater. James the Greater was one of the first disciples to follow Jesus. He's called the Greater just to tell him apart from another apostle also named James. He was John's brother, and together they were known as the Sons of Thunder, probably because they had strong and fiery personalities. James was part of Jesus' inner circle, which means he was present at some very important moments, like when Jesus brought a young girl back to life and when he was transformed into a glowing figure on a mountain. Unfortunately, James was also the first of the apostles to be killed for his beliefs, ordered by King Herod. His bravery shows us the cost of standing up for what you believe in, but also how important it is to stick to your faith even in dangerous times. Andrew. Andrew was Simon Peter's brother, and like Peter, he was a fisherman before he met Jesus. Andrew is known for being the person who introduced his brother Peter to Jesus, showing his role in bringing others closer to Jesus. He wasn't as prominently mentioned as some of the other disciples, but he played a crucial role by his acts of introduction. For instance, it was Andrew who found a boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish, which Jesus then used to feed thousands of people. This story shows how Andrew helped make big things happen from small beginnings. Tradition says Andrew continued to tell people about Jesus in different countries until he was also killed for his beliefs. Andrew's story teaches us the power of introducing people to good things and the impact of small acts. Paul, Saul of Tarsus. Paul wasn't one of the original 12 apostles and had a dramatic start because he actually used to oppose and persecute Christians. However, his life changed completely after he had a miraculous vision of Jesus while on the road to Damascus. After this vision, Paul became one of Christianity's most passionate advocates. He traveled thousands of miles around the Mediterranean, starting churches and writing letters to them which are now part of the New Testament. Some of these letters include Romans, Corinthians, and Galatians. Paul's teachings focused a lot on faith, grace, and the importance of living a life that reflects Jesus' teachings. Despite facing imprisonment and beatings, Paul never stopped teaching about Jesus until he was executed. His life shows us how someone can change completely and do great things for good, no matter their past. James the Lesser. James the Lesser is called lesser probably because he was younger or less prominent than James the Greater. He is believed to have been a cousin of Jesus and later became the leader of the Christian church in Jerusalem. He is traditionally credited with writing the Epistle of James in the New Testament, which emphasizes living out your faith through good actions, not just words. This James is known for his wisdom and practical teachings. He was very respected in the early church, and his leadership helped guide many Christians. According to some stories, he was martyred for his faith by being thrown from a high place and then beaten to death. James the Lesser teaches us that true faith is shown through our actions and the way we live our lives. Matthew, Levi. Matthew was a tax collector before he followed Jesus. At the time, tax collectors were disliked by most people because they were seen as traitors working for the Roman Empire and often cheated people to make more money. However, Jesus chose Matthew to be an apostle, showing that everyone is welcome in Jesus' group, no matter their background. Matthew is traditionally credited with writing the Gospel of Matthew, which includes many of Jesus' teachings and stories, like the Sermon on the Mount. His book is particularly important for linking old Jewish traditions with Jesus' new teachings, showing that Jesus came to fulfill these old promises. Matthew's story is a great example of how anyone can start fresh and make a positive difference in the world. Thomas. Thomas is often remembered as Doubting Thomas because he initially refused to believe that Jesus had risen from the dead until he could see and touch Jesus' wounds himself. This story is really important because it shows that it's okay to have doubts and questions about faith. Once Jesus appeared to Thomas and showed him the wounds, Thomas believed fully and exclaimed, "My Lord and my God." This declaration is one of the strongest statements of belief in Jesus in the New Testament. After his encounter with the resurrected Jesus, Thomas is believed to have traveled far, even to India, to spread the teachings of Jesus. He reportedly died as a martyr for his faith. Thomas's story teaches us that everyone has doubts, but these don't have to be the end of our faith. They can actually make our faith stronger when we seek the truth. Bartholomew, Nathanael. Bartholomew, also known as Nathanael, was one of Jesus' apostles and is known for his straightforwardness. When he first heard about Jesus from Philip, he was skeptical, asking, "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" But when he met Jesus, he was surprised because Jesus described his character accurately even before knowing him. Impressed, Bartholomew immediately recognized Jesus as the Son of God. He is said to have preached in several countries, including India and Armenia, and like many other apostles, he faced martyrdom for his beliefs. Bartholomew's story reminds us that initial skepticism can turn into strong faith once we truly encounter something real and truthful. Philip. Philip was another of Jesus' apostles, known for his role in introducing people to Jesus, similar to Andrew. He was from the same town as Peter and Andrew. One of his significant moments in the Bible is when he helps explain the scriptures to an Ethiopian official, which leads to the official's conversion to Christianity. Philip shows great willingness to teach and share his knowledge about Jesus. He is believed to have preached in Greece and was martyred for his faith. Philip's life teaches us the importance of sharing our knowledge and helping others understand deeper truths. Simon the Zealot. Simon the Zealot was one of Jesus' apostles, and his title, Zealot, suggests he was passionate about his beliefs. Zealots were known for their radical opposition to Roman rule in Israel. However, Simon's life after meeting Jesus focused on spreading Jesus' message of love and peace rather than violent rebellion. There isn't much detail about his life in the Bible, but Simon the Zealot is believed to have preached in different areas and, according to tradition, died as a martyr. Simon's transformation from a political zealot to a preacher of the gospel shows us that strong passions can be redirected towards positive and peaceful purposes. Judas Thaddaeus, Jude, not Iscariot. Judas Thaddaeus, often just called Jude to avoid confusion with Judas Iscariot who betrayed Jesus, was one of the apostles. He is traditionally believed to have written the Epistle of Jude in the New Testament, where he calls Christians to stay faithful and warns them against false teachings. The letter of Jude is short but powerful, emphasizing the need to fight for true faith. According to some traditions, Jude preached in places like Syria and Persia and was martyred for his faith. His life and letter encourage us to stand firm in our beliefs and defend them against those who want to mislead us. Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot is one of the most infamous figures in the New Testament because he was the apostle who betrayed Jesus. Judas was one of the 12 original disciples, and he was in charge of the group's money. However, he is best known for agreeing to hand over Jesus to the religious leaders in exchange for 30 pieces of silver. Judas' story serves as a powerful lesson on the dangers of greed and betrayal. It also shows how decisions driven by wrong motives can have severe consequences not just for others but for oneself as well. His story is a reminder of the need for integrity and the importance of making choices that align with moral and ethical values. Matthias. After Judas Iscariot's betrayal and death, the remaining 11 apostles felt it was necessary to maintain their number at 12, a symbolically important figure representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Matthias was chosen to replace Judas Iscariot. He was selected by casting lots, a common method in ancient times to determine God's will. Matthias had been a follower of Jesus from the beginning of his ministry and had witnessed Jesus' resurrection. While the Bible doesn't tell us much more about Matthias, church tradition holds that he preached in various places and was steadfast in his commitment to spreading the teachings of Jesus. His inclusion as an apostle underscores the idea of restoration and continuity among the followers of Jesus after a setback. Matthias' story reminds us that new beginnings are possible and that the work can continue even after a significant loss or failure.